A lot of you guys may know me as one of the biggest detractors to the things that Konami does. And it's simply because I am aware of the BS and I'm gonna let you guys know immediately once it comes to my attention. But there is recently some pretty good news that I wanna share with you guys, something that we can talk about that could actually be putting Yu-Gi-Oh in the right direction. Let's go ahead and jump on it. What's going on with ya, big dog? And it is an amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! I can finally say that and actually feel good when we make these type of videos. I hope that your day, phenomenal. But if it isn't, don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. Today, big dog, I've actually noticed some trends that Konami has been doing that can completely change what we think about Yu-Gi-Oh for the better. A lot of times when I make these type of videos, it's me exposing something that Konami has done or finding about some scam or just some news that isn't particularly good. This time around, like I said, there's actually some really good news that's coming up ahead. I think that this can be huge for the 2025 season, but I also want to hear what are some good things that have been going on with you Yu-Gi-Oh wise, and what are some cool things that have been happening in your area. I think chat's gonna go ahead and lead us off. There's gonna be one of those good sandwich, good sandwich, good sandwich. Hopefully, a lot of optimism and some crazy cool things that I know that can make Yu-Gi-Oh a lot better. Diverse formats? That's actually crazy. That's one thing I do want to talk about. This Yu-Gi-Oh format has been pretty freaking good. I think despite us having a cost of entry that can be pretty high, a lot of people think that they need the Molcharmy cards and Dominus Purge, which is around $800 for all of them. It's kind of proven that you don't need those cards to be successful at a local or regional level event. Hell, even a YCS level event, we've seen some really successful decks without using any of those cards. I remember when the set first came out and I said that Dominus Purge was going to be more impactful than the Molcharmy cards. That wound up being true. But what I didn't expect is Dominus Purge to be a good card, not an overwhelming card like Infinite Impermanence. I can go to locals and see Exodia, Melodious, and Sharks. What a time to be a Yu-Gi-Oh player. It feels really good. A lot of times when I go to my locals event, of course we have some of the best players in the world. I mean, the world champion does go to my locals, but I do see a ton of players just playing what they want to play. Chat, I've seen Centurion, I've seen Fire King, I've seen Yubel, but I also get to see some really cool decks. Sure, but when I show up with Trap Tricks, I get all the hate from Cali. I'm sick. You don't get any hate. You just get a call to the FBI. I've seen Labyrinth, I've seen Kashtira, I've seen anime decks, I've seen Marine Cess, I've seen Rescue Ace, I've seen a lot of deck diversity, and I think that that's really, really good. I've seen a player playing Sword Soul, and he said his only loss is to Yubel. Other than that, he runs the meta. I don't believe it, but he's having fun with Sword Soul. That's how you know we in a fair Yu-Gi-Oh format. I think that's one of the things that get overlooked in current day Yu-Gi-Oh is that the format is actually good. I really do wish that the price problem would be solved, but in actuality, it's going to be solved. I'll talk about that in a little bit of a second, but let's go ahead and talk about another big thing when it comes to competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Konami has actually taken the advice of themselves and Yu-Gi-Oh! Players. You see, normally we'd have something called a Yu-Gi-Oh! Off-season where they don't do events. But as of recent, Konami has been doing events in just about every month. Typically, we get this Yu-Gi-Oh! Off-season at the end of August and September, all the way into the next year. But we've had a YCS or a pretty big event every month since then. Admittedly, I did talk about the YCS in Mexico being pretty bad, but there's been a remote duel YCS, there's been YCS Bologna, there has been quite a few major events that's been happening over the off season to allow Yu-Gi-Oh to stay fresh and allow players that want to compete to still be able to compete. Mexico wasn't at fault for that. There was a hurricane. Bro, I'm just saying, bro, look, I'm just saying, don't schedule during hurricane season in a hurricane likely place. There are other places in the world that could rather have a YCS there and are a little bit more safer for the climate. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I'll give them credit for now with making prices a little better. That is another good thing. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Prices will probably never catch up to like One Piece and Disney Lorcana. To be honest, Disney Lorcana is kind of crazy with their prices, but they have gotten better. Think about it, guys. Nintendo Switch, we made fun of them for it. They now giving us Stream Decks.
Boom, bam, bop, pow.
They're even giving us a weird plaque-looking thing with cards in it.
And dice.
Now, personally, I would like to see some better prizes, and I think we've talked about them. One of the things that I would like to see is exclusive artwork cards being given out to players that top a YCS or something like that. Like, take for example, let me just magically snap my fingers and say that the Feet copy of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring is only given to top cut players. Which means if we go to, let's say, a 1,500 man event, the top 64 players will get 3 copies of this Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Of course, Cali finds a way to talk about Feet. He ain't beating allegations. Bro. What are you on? Somebody gotta get them off the line, except for heavy emo girls and exotic dancers. Yo, embarrassing. This, in my opinion, makes it worth competing because now you have a crazy cool alternative artwork card. It lets players know your prestige while also not being very expensive. I'm excited to read what you guys have for ideas for better pricing. I think that it doesn't take a lot. And Konami, I know for a fact you guys watch these videos. You've made some changes based off of the things that I have said. So just come out, give me my credit, or not, you're probably not, but at least make some of these changes that players are going to be talking about in the description. They can really, really help. But lastly, and the most important thing that's been happening, I think that this is really, really good for Yu-Gi-Oh! And I can confirm it for everybody. We are getting a Rarity Collection 4. Konami can't call it Rarity Collection 4 because they skipped 3? Yes, they can. Quarter Century Bonanza on the cards literally says Rarity Collection 3. It don't even say QCB. I mean, whatever they call it, it's going to be another Rarity Collection. For all they care, they can call it Quarter Century of Chaos. They like to call things chaos. They are going to name the new Rarity Collection a jungle themed set. Rarity Collection Jungle Chaos. I think the point of it is like where Erguado says, Bonanza saved Yu-Gi-Oh! And the biggest reason why is because these continuous reprints have been healthy for the game. When Quarter Century was first announced, I thought that it wasn't a great idea. Then I started to realize that cards are becoming super rare and in mass print. Then when I realized that they announced another Quarter Century way too soon afterward, it felt even like a worse scam. And admittedly, Rarity Collection 2 is pretty bad, even though it did give us some pretty good reprints. If you guys remember, I made a video talking about how Konami can fix a card game, and one of the biggest things was to reprint things faster. If you start to reprint those really expensive and hard to get cards, it entices players to play the game. Granted, we have cards like the Molcharmy and Dominus Purge, which are decently expensive, but if those are the only cards that are expensive and aren't mandatory for you to be able to be successful in Yu-Gi-Oh!, then we're in a really good spot. It means that some of the older strategies are now a lot more accessible, and some of the newer cards are still going to be sought after. I even like how Quarter Century Bonanza has taken a separate approach than the other 2 Rarity Collections. There are some cards that are incredibly hard to get, being Quarter Century Bonanza, and they retain a ton of value. I think, though, the Quarter Century side is a little bit too huge. Konami has found a balance between getting really good cards, having those nostalgic cards that are still in the pool, but not also limiting the ability for us to be able to get some really good reprints. If Konami just continues to give us Rarity Collections every 3 to 4 months, they don't even need to make Mega 10s. There's almost no point. I mean, Quarter Century Bonanza pretty much showed us that we don't need Mega 10s at all. Yeah, but will you feel that way when the number of Rarity Collection matches the number of Fast and Furious movies? Every solution is gonna have its set of problems. I don't think we would be upset with Rarity Collection 11. I'm not sure. Would you guys be upset with Rarity Collection 11? Rarity Collection, too fast, too furious. Banana is trash. Didn't see anything worth the hustle. See, McLovin, I think a lot of people feel that sentiment. Personally, I didn't buy any boxes of Rarity Collection 3. The biggest reason why is because overall the set wasn't great for me, but it provided key reprints to players that wanted to enter the game and players that wanted to compete while not dropping the bag. Watch it, Cali. Those people are buying out the QCR Bonanzas will do the same for Finra. The particular card that you're looking to buy, or the particular card that you're looking to get in Quarter Century Bonanza is 1 in 280. It makes sense to buy the card. For all the 30 plus players, you get a shiny version of garbage we grew up to love. Don't you talk about Goblin Attack Force like that, dog. I want a QCR Goblin Attack Force. I want QCR Machina cards. I want QCR Cyber Valley. Like, bro, I ain't gonna lie, Quarter Century Bonanza, it's growing on me. And to be honest, I can't wait for Rarity Collection 4 and the cards that it will bring, making the Yu-Gi-Oh game a lot more accessible, continuing on with giving players access to really good cards, but also even some particular strategies will be a lot cheaper and easy to get to. I'm also looking forward to the improvements that Konami can do. This is my, you're doing a good job and you have my trust this time. Please, for the love of God, do not break it. But I want to know what you guys think about the upcoming things that are going to be happening in Yu-Gi-Oh for the 2025 season. Again, me, very, very optimistic. I'm loving the direction that it's headed, but there could be some things to have cause for concern. I can't wait to read what you have to say, but until then, go ahead and check out these videos so I can catch you on the next one.